It's not cooperating, Walter.
You should be on
We just got a I just got a notification that says.
now. Go fuck yourself.
No, it says we're on.
Man.
Are we?
Yeah.
Oh, so are we live right now?
We should be.
It sounds so reassuring, Walter.
Yeah, we're on.
Okay, well, there we go. Okay, yeah, that's me looking at me. I like that. Ow! Walter got angry at the last segment because of the Indiana Pacers and the New York Knicks, and he cut it like a fucking like a little bitch, like a little John Starks. Hey, you want the ball? Anyway, screw you guys. I'm going home. That was my man Cartman. Let's see. What do we have now? We're going to talk about Diddy.
Get into Diddy?
Diddy didn't do it. And I'm going to give my reasoning for this too, why I believe that Sean Combs, Puff Daddy, P. Diddy, whatever the fuck you want to call him, is innocent of what they're accusing him of. And because what he's under indictment for is a RICO charge, right? That racketeering. And in order to be found guilty of a racketeering charge, there has to it's a multiple indictments, right? It's like multiple crimes and shit like that. One of the big ones is sex trafficking. And I got to be honest, I don't know, Walter, when you heard about this stuff, like one of the images that came to my mind, like I'm thinking about Jeffrey Epstein and having like underage girls and shit like that, you know, which obviously is automatically a crime. It's automatically statutory rape.
I instantly thought, I need details.
Well, for many reasons. I
need details.
Spank Bank is waiting.
Yeah, I
Cassie's fucking beautiful.
I imagine like crazy fucking wicked parties where they're...
Which there was. I mean, but...
They have statues of Satan and they're jerking off.
And that could very well be.
Creatures.
But, all right, but everything you just mentioned, none of that is illegal.
No.
You can worship Satan
fun.
if you want to. Not highly advisable. In today's culture, a lot of people do anyway, right? Whether they realize it or not. And you see, and it's funny you say like worship Satan, because I this is like my belief, like avarice is a huge sin, right? Avarice. And what is avarice, right? It's a lusting for money and power and fame, right? Like that's avarice. And that's never taken into account in situations like this, right? Because we talk about this stuff in essay and how horrible essay, because we have to say essay instead of saying what it really is, you know, which is the R word that you're not allowed to mention, which is ridiculous because you can't talk about it. And if you can't talk about it, it's almost like it doesn't exist. So I'm listening to some of the testimony, and I'm saying to myself, like, here, okay, this is trafficking. The Bex, we'll call it Bex trafficking, right? Now, look at the definition of this, right? All right, this is the law on this, and it says trafficking as defined by federal law involves the recruitment, harboring, transportation, provision, or obtaining of a person for a commercial sex act, induced by force, fraud, or coercion, or when the person induced is under 18 years old. It's a form of human trafficking where individuals are exploited for commercial sexual purposes. Basically, that's any time you hire a hooker. Most cities, hiring a hooker is a misdemeanor. You get it's a bench ticket. It's like it's no different than speeding, for crying out loud. But here, you put a label like that on it, and you just went from somebody who was soliciting a prostitute to somebody who was human trafficking. And which sounds worse? Now, here's my thing. Diddy's a dick. Like, I mean, it's seen. And he's an abusive guy. Like, I make no excuses for the way he treated Cassie and, you know, the verbal and physical abuse that he put this poor girl under. But what responsibility do others bear in that? Like, I've known, all right, what's the name of the kid that she was cheating with again? I had it all queued up.
Kid Cudi.
Kid Cudi, right? Here's a woman so afraid of Diddy in all his power that she had an affair on him behind his back. And it was a year before they actually broke up. Now, Diddy didn't handle it well, right? Supposedly, allegedly, blew up Kid Cudi's car. And there was some testimony to that fact where Kid Cudi says, I think he had it on video or whatever, that one of Diddy's people did it or whatever. They Molotov cocktailed his car. And, but here's the thing, right? And I said avarice, like it's such a great word, because if you look up what avarice is, and this is it right here. Right? Avarice. And it is extreme greed for wealth or material gain. And here's my contention, right? Almost all of these people had the option to walk away, and they chose not to. They chose to stay with a person that they defined as brutal, right? Harsh, abusive in both language and physics, in physical presence. Like all of these things. Why did they stay with them? Like all of these people that stayed with them. And why? Why? It's because they had access to private jets, mansions, the finest cocaine in the world, having sex with beautiful people, right? All the time. They had a lifestyle, and to pay for that lifestyle, they had to put up with a douchebag like Sean Combs. That was the price. And a lot of people do that all along the way. Ellen DeGeneres says, oh, she was such a bitch, right? But these people stayed with her for 20 years. It wasn't, ironically, it wasn't until Ellen DeGeneres, and this brings up another thing with Diddy, too, and I'm going to play part of that, too, the one interview with Ben David Patrick, I think his name is. Mm-hmm. My contention is there were two people, Ellen DeGeneres and Steve Harvey, right? And those are two of my favorite lefty people, right? These are people who were typically on the left of center anyway, right? And they both committed a sin. And the sin was conferring with Republicans, right? And playing nice with Republicans. There was an instance with Ellen DeGeneres where she was at a Dallas Cowboys, and we've talked about it before, right? She was at a Dallas Cowboys game. She's a Dallas Cowboys fan, right? She grew up in Texas, I think. And George Bush, ex-president of the United States, is a Republican ex-president of the United States. And he knows that she's there. So he's got a private booth. And he sends word down to Ellen and her people, hey, why don't you come on up? Come on up. We're both Texans. We're both rooting for the Cowboys. Come on up. So she does. And then they said, the press asked her the next day, what are you doing? What are you doing sitting with George Bush? He's a Republican. He's Republican. Are you a Republican now, Ellen? And she's like, no, he's a former president of the United States. I got to be honest, I'm not a fan of Barack Obama. But if I was in a place and Barack Obama said, hey, man, you want to come sit with me? Of course I would. I'd love to meet the guy. I really would. Like, that would be, he was president of the United States. The man was leader of the free world. I wouldn't go shake his hand. I would do it with Biden, too, but only one of us would know I was in the room, like.
Put it there.
Okay, technically he's an ex-president, but, he didn't really get, as it turns out, Elizabeth Warren was the one signing all the documents, apparently. But I would go sit with him. And I'm okay, why did you do that? Because he was the leader of the free world for 8 fucking years. That's impressive. Like, he's an impressive guy. May not agree with his politics, but I got to tell you, he's an extremely intelligent guy. And yeah, I find him fascinating. And the same that Ellen, and right after she did that, it's about 2 months after that, she didn't have a good enough excuse for the left. And all of a sudden, after being on the air for 20 years, after being in entertainment for 30 or 40 years, however fucking long it was, all of a sudden you find out she's the biggest cunt in the world. I can't look her in the eye and she's so mean. And all of a sudden, really?
I've had mean bosses before.
Yeah, and it didn't take you 20 years to say that guy's a fucking prick. And they all hung in there. If she was that bad, why were you still? Why did you still? Because I want the money, I want the fame, I want the notoriety. I want to put that on my resume that I worked on one of the top talk shows in the country, regardless of whether or not she was a bitch. Steve Harvey, same thing. It was 2017. Trump takes office in 2017. Steve Harvey went to say hello. Why'd you do that? Well, because he's president of the United States. I run a talk show. Steve Harvey had like 10 shows running at a time. The guy's hardest working man in entertainment. James Brown's gone, right? It's Steve Harvey. This man is all over the place, right? And again, didn't have a good enough answer for the press. All of a sudden, he's the biggest prick in the world. Oh, you can't look him in the same thing with Ellen. It was the same exact stories, really. Oh, he's a prick. You can't look him in the eye. And Mr. Harvey's got all these rules, and you can't. What? Guy's been in entertainment for decades. All of a sudden, he's the biggest prick in the world? All of a sudden? Really? And this brings me to Puff Daddy, right? and this is like, all right, so here it is. Here's Patrick. Oh, that's right. Patrick Bet David. And I want to give him, I watch a lot of his stuff. I do subscribe to him. I'm a conservative guy. Most people know that, right? But this guy makes a lot of great points in this. So I'm going to play like five or 10 minutes of this, right? Of this clip of his. And this is from Valuetainment, which is one of his things, right? And got a lot of subscribers, 6.8 million subscribers. Oh, Jesus. I take his leftovers, just like following Brad Pitt around, just to see the girls he turns down.
We're just a blink away from that.
Yeah. A cunt hair, if you will. Yeah. Okay, so and now this is his take on this, right? And he makes some really valid points, because you got to say, what happened? What happened? And here, let's listen to it first, and then we're going to comment, right? And you can look at this by going to Valuetainment and looking at it. And I highly recommend it. The guy's got great content. I love his stuff. Again, it's Patrick Bet David, which is okay. He's I think he's an Israeli guy, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, so here we go.
If you want all these notes, stick around to the very end. I'm going to show you how to get them. All right, so let's get right into it. Check this out. This guy Diddy, when you look at his net worth, 2022, he's a billionaire. Oh, we hear it. We see it all over the place.
3 years ago.
Today, net worth roughly $300 million, $400 million. His net worth, if you look at it, was a lot of spirits. 70% was spirits, $700 million. 50 million was private investments. Then you see 75 million cash.
I got to tell you, only a good Jewish boy could look into this shit like this, right? You got to follow the money, man. It's true.
The patience.
100 million real estate and collectibles, 75 million catalog and intellectual property. Go to it right now. Only $150 million is spirits. He lost $550 million there.
Over half a
Cash
billion.
is lower, and a bunch of other things are lower there. So what happened during that time when you think about his net worth? By the way,
for that kind of money, the Mets could buy another Soto and get fucked for another $500 million.
when you compare him to some other people net worth-wise with Jay-Z, Dre, Diddy, and Kanye, this is what it looks like. Blue is Dre, orange is Jay-Z, green is Diddy, and purple is Kanye. Look what happened here. So Jay-Z keeps climbing. In 2011, he was roughly $450. Today he's $2.5 billion. Dre goes from where he was at $150 million at the time. He's worth roughly $980 million today.
Billion.
Diddy goes from $450, same place, to $1 billion, down to $300 million. And then Kanye goes from wherever he was. You look at the report today, you'll either see $300 million or $2.77 billion, depending on who's doing the audits. Forbes says $300 million. Okay, so let's go look at the Ciroc deal, what happened. So Diddy in 2007 does the Ciroc deal, which is a partnership with Diageo. Bringing Diddy in, he's gonna take it from 40,000 to 2 million. Profitable, this is great, let's make some money together. 2013, the Leon Tequila co-ownership, Diddy and Diageo jointly acquired the Leon Tequila, making it a deeper investment relationship. May of 2023, Diddy sues Diageo. Diddy filed a lawsuit accusing Diageo of neglecting the De Leon brand, racial discrimination, claiming they marketed it as an urban product and failed to treat him as a true business partner. Then in January 2024, they settle out of court. Diageo and Diego settled the dispute out of court.
All right, so you get that. So he's doing this deal, right? He brings Ciroc, and they promote the shit out of Ciroc. He becomes the face of Ciroc. They go from selling 40,000 cases to 2 million cases. Now, the De Leon brand of tequila, he says they didn't market properly, that it was racism. Now, first of all, if it was racism, they wouldn't have marketed the Ciroc. I don't think they give a shit. They just want to sell. They want to sell more product. Why would they not market it? Maybe it just didn't sell. See, but what happened was Diageo had their own form of black fatigue, only they dealt with it in a very different manner. And that's what we're going to get to here. Now, they settled that lawsuit where he claimed racial discrimination. I don't know how you would prove that. Why wouldn't they market it? Like, they're not. Listen. So what happens? They settle in January of 2020. And he says, well, I tried to talk to Biden. They didn't want to talk to me till after everything was done, they said. In other words, we already got the black vote. We don't need you. You keep your black ass home because we're done talking to you. We take your people for granted. We don't need you. And Trump said, sure, I'll talk to you. Why not? Yeah? Anyway. And
Don't
pretty
threaten
much
me with a good time.
and everybody chided him, right? And then he did the interview with Tucker Carlson and forget about it. And this is Ice Cube we're talking about, man. Okay, so here we are. He settles in January of 2024. Now, listen.
Details still remain sealed. The settlement marked the end
$50 million overnight. All right?
Crazy.
till 2024. 17 years. Could they have protected him? I don't know. Their CEO currently today is Deborah Ann Crew. She was a former intelligence officer in the military. Once intelligence officer,
Always.
forever you're an intelligence officer. Who knows what happened? We don't know the relationship. We're not going to make any
Oh, we
accusations.
can't make any accusations because we'll get sued and we'll be fucked, right? But, you know, read between the lines. Now, here this lady, now, none of this shit is seeing the light of day. All this stuff with Cassie and all, he's been broken up with Cassie since 2018. 7 fucking years. And all of a sudden, January 2024, their relationship, his relationship with Diageo is severed. And they're like, okay, motherfucker, now let's see. All right?
Could this have been a protection where they were at the parties
I don't
and
think
they
it
knew
was
things
protection.
that were taking place?
I don't think it was protection. I think it was coercion. You want to talk about that's coercion. It's look, we have all these videos on you, Diddy. They know where all the dirt is. They know where all the bodies are buried. They have the videotapes, right? I don't think it was so much that they were protecting him as they were using this as a leg up.
Wait, what do you want to do to us? No problem. Boom, drop the bomb. I don't know. All I'm saying is the timing, it's kind of strange. Maybe
not
even
strange.
they wanted to kind of be like, look, we know what's about to be dropped on this guy. We
Right.
want to have nothing
Right.
to do with you.
But I don't think that was the case, though. And the reason I don't think that was the case is they probably still would have had a relationship with him if he didn't sue them. They didn't sue him to get out of the contract. He sued them. He sued them for discrimination. Like, get the fuck out of here. You're a billionaire. They could have gotten me more money. You know, like, oh, please. Nah.
We're out. Here's some money. You stay quiet. We'll pay you, but we want to
Sure.
get out of here.
Sure.
The only thing that the timing's kind of crazy is January 2024, they settle. 2 months later, remember what we're sitting there doing and minding
2
our own
months
business?
later.
And you hear March of 2024,
It's
the
it.
feds are raiding Diddy's Miami home and his LA home for
2
what?
months later.
What are they trying to get? And you saw them pulling out all these boxes. What's going on over here?
Almost like they knew right where to go. Yeah.
Federal agents raided his Miami and LA home, seizing 90 terabytes of digital data.
90
what are you taking?
terabytes.
Bunch of letters he wrote?
90
What do you think they're getting there,
terabytes.
right?
90
is
terabytes,
crazy.
man. That's
Unregistered file.
fucking huge, those files.
90 terabytes.
That's a lot of video, man.
That's a lot of history.
A lot of fucking video. Yeah. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Over 1,000 bottles of lubricant allegedly linked to coerced sex events. His associate, Brandon Paul, was arrested at a Miami airport, and Diddy's jet was tracked to Antigua, though he remained in the U.S. We all remember this. This is nothing new.
What was
May
his
of
jet bringing down to
2024,
Antigua,
guess what
right? Who
footage
cares?
is released? Cassie Ventura's
May.
footage. How long have you...
Now, here it is in May of 2024. May of 2024. Now, 5 months after they settle, right? 2 months after they settle, his houses are raided. 3 months after that, this video drops on CNN, right?
haven't at CNN since 2016. You haven't released it till now.
CNN held on to that from 2016, right, to 2024. 8 fucking years. Hey, you know what? Hey, fellas, don't we have that old Diddy video in the archives? You know, I think we do.
We got 90 terabytes as well.
Look at this. We got him. I think if I'm not mistaken, him beating up a beautiful girl in the middle of a hotel with his fucking towel on.
Did she have
Jeez.
that one song that was kind of
Yeah.
good?
How did we forget to release that?
The
I
beat
don't
was
know.
really nice.
You know what we should do? Let's go down to the archives and see if it's still there. Get the fuck out of here.
What do you know? Diddy
Right.
drag it a bitch.
Who'd have thought? He seems like such a nice young man.
We have more than one, too.
Look at this. Got him beating the shit out of a whole
You said
bunch
her
of
name
people.
was what? Cassie?
Look at this.
Yeah, we got that one.
This Justin Bieber tape. Oh, Justin, I didn't know your legs were supposed to bend like that, son.
Hold on. We don't need that one quite yet.
Yeah, we'll pull that one out in another 8 months or so. Okay. Yeah.
No. Who made the phone call to say release it now?
Who?
What a weak kick.
Who? Huh?
That kick annoys me.
Which kick?
That Diddy kick. It was such a weak kick.
Yeah, you weren't on the receiving end of it. I don't know.
I would have taken that kick for 20 mil. That's nothing.
Cassie's a lightweight. But that was my other point. Like, who would put up with this shit? Who'd put up with? Listen, it's the price you pay for all the fame, the coke, the parties, the sex, the planes, the mansions, the world travel, all this shit. It came at a price.
Who was kind of like, we're done with this guy. You're not back.
Right.
You're threatened to say this.
Yeah.
Release the footage, right? So
Release
they release the
hounds.
footage. He comes out, issues an apology, while his lawyers accuse the government of leaking the tape. It was later admitted as evidence in his
Go
trial.
figure.
Again, January deal. March is raiding his house, Miami and LA. May, here's a video being dropped from CNN, even though they've been
Jeez.
sitting on it for 8 years.
8 years.
September 20.
Hey, how come nobody's taking CNN to account? How come nobody's taking them to account? This poor girl, she's getting her fucking ass kicked, and you're sitting on the fucking tape, and you're sitting on it. But don't you think that makes CNN complicit in all this shit?
Sure.
Fake news. Oh, we're not fake news. No, we just
Hold on to it.
just monitor the news we're gonna tell you. Get the fuck out of here.
We filter it a little.
But this goes back to who's sitting in whose bed here, where they say politics makes strange bedfellows and all that bullshit, right? But who was footing the bills? Why are you sitting on a tape by Diddy that you had like that? It's unbelievable.
The book is released. Kim's Lost Word.
Makes Ray Rice wish he had a lot more money. Remember that Ray Rice tape?
Which one was that?
He's beating the shit out of his girlfriend in the Vegas hotel in the
elevator.
In the elevator, yeah.
Yeah.
I wish I was fucking Diddy, man. God damn it.
I can't beat you quite like Diddy.
That's right. No one more contract. I'm a contract away from Diddy.
What's a lower tier? You need a lower tier beating.
Yeah.
Or bite your ankles.
Yeah. Well, at least he's not in jail with R. Kelly,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
By the way,
could be worse.
There's a lot of speculation with this thing here, so whatever I'm reading you is not necessarily 100%. It is there, it is not there. The alias they use on who wrote the book is Shanti Millwood, which is an alias for Tupac, which is kind of weird. Why would you use that? This book appeared on Amazon, allegedly written by Kim Porter, accused Diddy of abuse, misconduct with minors. Porter's children denounced it as fake. Investigators revealed the real author was Chris Todd, who claimed he compiled the book from a mysterious flash drive. Amazon removed the book a month later in October. So September last year was a rough year for him because that's when the lawsuit comes out and he's arrested and indicted on federal charges, racketeering, conspiracy, sex trafficking.
So this is it, right? He's got all this shit going against him. All in less than 1 year after settling this lawsuit, all this shit happens. His homes get raided. The video gets dropped. He gets sued. And then he's under indictment. And all that shit happened within 10 months of settling the Diageo lawsuit. And Diageo basically said, we're going to give you this money, and then we're going to fucking take it away in legal fees. Like, you are never going to be able to enjoy this money. That's it. And that's exactly what's happening, because his lawyers are going to fucking rape him now. Grape him now. Not have to say the R word. They're going to take everything he has. Like, he's going to have to put everything up. But here's the thing, and again, and I'm going to say that he's innocent. I mean, he's innocent of what they're accusing him of. He's a douchebag. He's a scumbag. He's abusive. He's obnoxious. He's all of those things, right? I gotta find a cut here from the 30 Rock. It's because it's absolutely hysterical. Because it's what it is. Like, so many people are willing to put up with so much crap in order to get fame and fortune. Like Cassie, the first time he was abusive, right? You know, it's so alluring, the money and the fame and all that other shit, right? That a lot of people are willing to put up with that crap, right? You don't want to go work at Walmart. That's what it comes down to. Cassie was a beautiful woman. She could have had a modeling career. Oh, he controlled her money and everything. The woman's a multimillionaire, and she's not a very good artist. She left Diddy at 30 years old. They split up in 2018. I forget the name of the type of shelter, but it's a shelter where women can go, and they're anonymous within there so that their abusers can't find them. Like, that's how bad it is, right? So they're like protection shelters. And she went through the ringer with this guy, right? And in 95, when the O.J. Simpson trial, it was the only time I can ever remember. I was working, it was KNICKS at the time, and I was working in the business office, and we had these big screens up all over the place. You know, they would like advertise just all the brainwashing shit that they would give us. The only time that they showed anything other than like KNICKS bullshit was the O.J. Simpson trial. They broadcast it live in the building, and everybody stopped working when the jury came out. And all of these black people were cheering, right? Because he was found not guilty. And I'm not saying one thing or another, right? The only woman, the only black woman there that was upset was this woman. And we worked in these cubes, you know, they were like this. And so you had, you know, like this. And she was right behind me. So we talked a lot, right? And she sat there and cried, right? And I'm like, you know, it's a fucking white guy. What do I care? Right? Not that I don't care about her, but I mean, like the verdict and everything. Oh yeah, we won. Like, you didn't win shit. Your black ass would be in fucking jail if they had that because you don't have his money. But I looked at her and I asked, what's the matter? And she said, they don't understand. A man just got away with murdering his wife. This had nothing to do with race and everything to do with spousal abuse. Yeah. Anyway. So that was that, but he got away with it because he had the money. Like, it's all green, right? And when it comes to this stuff, like, people are willing to put themselves in situations like this for power and fame and money. Now, Cassie was so afraid of him that she cheated on him, that she eventually left him, and nothing happened to her after she left him. She left him in 2018 to make music, and now she's 30 years old. When they split up, she's only 30 years old. Plenty of performance, put out plenty of work after 30, right? Mariah Carey, like, you know, all of these big females, Aguilera, right? Christina Aguilera, they all do, you know, if you're good, you're good. It doesn't stop when you're 30. You don't stop being a great singer or whatever. Nothing. But one song, you said, right? One song. And that was put out while she was still with Diddy, right?
Yeah, that was her first single.
Yeah, and that was it, and nothing. She wasn't talented.
It was a good beat.
The fact of the matter is, if it wasn't for Diddy, even that wouldn't have come out more than likely. But she was a model. She's beautiful. I mean, the woman is absolutely stunning. She really is.
Diddy's a demonic opportunist.
Right.
So he saw a beautiful girl, and he said, she's kind of okay. I could make something work.
If she plays the game.
But then again, I'm going to trap that bitch.
Yeah. But if she plays the game, and the game is this, you're going to give me your body, and I'm going to give you a career.
Yeah, he waves the carrot.
Right. You're going to give me sex. And this is age old. They make it sound like Harvey Weinstein was the first guy to think of this. You know, no. Like, this is age old. It's the oldest profession is prostitution. Right? Mae West said it, right? All women do it for money. Some girls get a nickel, other girls get a house. You know, she got a house, more than one house. She got trips around the world. She got Lear jets. She got the best cocaine in the world. She got the best sex. You know, all of this shit.
She got a retirement plan.
He had people pee in her mouth. Listen, I've known women who've been into that. I was with one girl, and this is a true story. This is one girl that she used to like being peed on. We broke up with her sitting in a tub asking me to defecate on her. And I remember looking at her, and she was covered with cum and piss. And I remember looking, and I'm like, I can't. This is it. I'm past this. Like, for me,
you pulled a Silvio. You were like, I saw you in the tub. would come and piss on you? You want me to shit then? Disgusting.
This disgraziazzo, right? Is that it was disgusting.
You're a pig.
But this. Listen, some people are into this shit.
Sure.
Just because it sounds disgusting to most human beings, of course it does, because it is. But you see, we're
There was
trying
that
to.
software guy, the security software, McAfee or something,
Oh yeah,
where he
was a sick
escaped
fuck.
to the island and he
yeah.
wanted girls to sit on the hammock and shit in his mouth.
Sure. Why not? You know. But here's the thing, and Bill Burr does this thing, right? Hold on, because I play this too, because I love this. And this is what it all boils down to. Yeah. Hold on. Yeah, I don't want to watch the whole thing. But as Bill Burr talks about Tiger Woods, he's like, we're in no position to judge this man because none of us knows what he goes through, right? None of us gets off of a hard day at work and has to contend with a busload of Swedish models wanting to fuck our brains out. We're like, oh my God, he cheated on his wife? Like, yeah, okay. You know, he's got 50 gorgeous women going, you know, I'll let you do whatever you want to me. Like, literally do whatever you want to me.
After the third no.
Like, how come there's not a crime for that? Like, there's no crime because a woman goes into a guy's office, her male boss, and goes, I'll suck your dick if you promote me. Okay. You know, and talking to a guy that would never have a shot in a million years at a girl like this, right? Okay. You know, how come that's not a crime? It's not. It's not a crime for a woman to do that, but it's a crime for a guy to go, I'll promote you if you suck my dick. Like, how does that work, right? The inability, he's in a position of power. Okay. Doesn't mean she has to do it. She can report him, right? She can't, because if she reports him, there'll be a retribution. There's so many women in the office that I don't buy that. I don't buy that. And to never say anything after you leave. How about she was okay with it? She was okay with it. That her conscience got the best of her. We talked about Matt Lauer before, and that's one of my favorites because I remember this chick. It took her like 15 or 20 years to rat Matt Lauer out. No, he locked me, and then he told me, yeah, but you took the position in more ways than one. You took the position. Like, you did this shit, right? You were willing to put out for a job. Maybe he saw something in you that he knew that you would fuck him for a job.
Yeah, he saw something.
And he provided. He didn't renege on it. You know? He said, okay, you had sex with him, and he gave you a job. He got you promoted. He got you whatever. Well, I don't know what the hell she was looking for. I think she became like a director or an associate producer, whatever. I think she was an associate producer, whatever it was. But you have an option. Go work at Walmart, like 95% of America. Go get a job. Go get a regular. No. You want fame. You want glory. You want all this shit, and you're willing to do certain things for it. You know. At one point or another, I think everybody, especially people in positions, have prostituted themselves in one way or another. You know, you do business with people you don't necessarily like because you got to do business with them to get somewhere, right? There's sleazy people everywhere, men and women, right? And you do business, but you have to set your own boundaries. And the problem with all this bullshit, and the reason I don't think, because it's sex... hex trafficking. God, it's so stupid, right?
You'll probably get away with sex.
It's basically hiring a prostitute. It becomes trafficking. Like, it can be trafficking. I got to be honest with you. If they can't produce any underage people that were involved in this, if they can't produce people who were physically threatened, if they didn't go through it, but all of these people said, well, you know, at first it was okay. What made it not okay was because you realized just how big a scumbag this guy was. Or you had enough money now that you didn't feel like you wanted to be this sleazy anymore. You know, like it was okay at first. There's the one guy that got hired off of Craigslist who was, you know, getting $6,000 a pop to bang. Oh, tough life for this guy, right? He's got, oh yeah, I had to fuck Cassie and I only got $6,000 for it. Where the rest of us would pay 10 just to do it, right? You know, like, get the fuck, come on, man, really? You know, the freak-offs, people were dying to go to these parties. LeBron James was the no party like a Diddy party, right?
He's never gonna live that down.
But it's he might be living it down in a penitentiary at one point, right? Because where are these other people too? Jay-Z. Oh yeah, I had nothing to do with it. Okay, yeah, all right. But again, you know, where is the line of accountability? And I'm big on accountability, man. I changed my life because of accountability. I'm a recovering drug addict, man. Like, and if it wasn't for accountability and saying I have a problem with this is my fault. I made these really bad decisions, and I have to own up to this shit. This is mine. I gotta own this. You gotta fucking I was such an innocent person in all of this. No, you weren't. No, you weren't. No, you weren't. No, you were a filthy hooah. You know, and regret is not the same as coercion. You know, and again, what's my evidence that she could leave? Well, she did. You know, what's my evidence that maybe she wasn't as afraid as she said she was? Because she cheated on him. The woman I knew in the KNICKS office, let me tell you something, she never would have cheated on that man. He would have killed her. He would have killed her. Killed her. You know? I know, we talked, and I know what she went through. She explained some of it, right? You know, and here she was. She's just messing around on him. And I think the girl likes sex. I think she liked getting fucked by really good-looking guys, you know? God bless her. So what? That's her own business. But to sit here, oh my God, it was so bad, you know, I'd have sex with all these beautiful people and do all this really good cocaine and ecstasy and fly all over the world to all these beautiful places. Do you know that man made me go to the south of France for 2 months and have sex on the Riviera? Oh, you poor kid, you know? I tell you, I remember when I was with, it was Verizon, we were sitting around one time, we're in the garage. This is a filthy job I had. It was filthy. Fucking cockroaches all over the place. Rats running over your feet, right? Dirty work. Just dirty work. It's what I did, man. I put food on the table. I'm not ashamed of what I did. It was a good job. Good blue-collar, hard job, right? And these guys are like, would you let Michael Jackson fuck you for $1 million? I'm like, are you fucking kidding? Hell yeah. Of course I would. $1 million. I'm like, you know how much $1 million? It took me 10 years to make $1 million. 10 years. I'm making good money. Right?
Think
I'm making
Michael
100,
Jackson was
125.
packing?
Huh?
You think Michael Jackson was packing?
You black, isn't he? Good enough. Who cares?
He
It's
did
my
wear a
point.
lot of tight stuff. I didn't really see anything.
Who cares?
I grew
One-time
up,
deal?
I grew up watching that the greatest hits video VHS
Yeah.
where he was like the big statue.
Yeah.
I would watch that shit all the time. All his videos.
Oh, he was a
back to
great
back.
performer. He another freak, by
Little
the way.
did I know he was probably interested in me at the time.
Yeah, probably. Nice young little white boy.
I could have went to Neverland.
He loves children. Yeah, as long as they're white and male. And under 10. Come on, man. Yeah. Anyway, no girls in that entourage.
Yeah, fuck that. You don't need that.
Or not fuck that. Anyway, but that's it. You know, like there's shit a lot of us would do. I had a friend who told me a story about a crack dealer that he knew back in the 80s who had this girl suck his dog's dick to completion.
Wow.
To get crack. For crack.
Ow.
See, so it's amazing what people will do for money, what people will do for to get what they think they want.
See, that's why we
Right?
need the soundboard.
I thought you were a soundboard. I told you I'd get one.
No, we only need to get one. This is offside. This is like a free behind the scenes, me interrupting and just.
No, because he does his shit all. I am all for a soundboard though,
Yeah,
and
I
I
need
said
a-
we'll
I need
get
to
it.
put, like,
I'll
a
even get
fart,
the when you
You
got
have
to
an
pay for
iPad.
it.
We're fine. We just need to set it up, and plus I need to figure out the stream for video. But our audio is good. The video's all right.
I don't hear any sound, which is cool because sometimes we get that crackly stuff.
No, I shut it. I lowered it. Plus, it's not that bad. See.
Oh, okay, yeah. Oh, did we ever do the mono? Did I get the mono to mono? I don't know why we're talking about this now.
Yeah,
Who
we
the
got
fuck cares,
we
right?
got a mono to move on.
He thinks he's so clever. I swear.
You done with Diddy?
So here's all the
You had like a whole thing where you said, I'm just going to go off on Diddy.
I just did. We've been talking about it for a half hour. What?
That's true. I get lost in the production.
You want to go back to the Knicks?
Absolutely not.
In 7.
Oh, you heard Meghan Markle's podcast flopped? She had 8 episodes.
Is that right?
Yeah, flopped.
Meghan Markle. Oh, Meghan. She's with Prince Harry.
Yeah.
I'm thinking Merkel, the former German chancellor.
I wouldn't know her.
No, that's why I was looking at you funny. Like, really, Walter? Wow, I'm impressed.
No. We're talking pop culture.
Yeah. Well, she's just that's again black fatigue. You know, that's what we were going to discuss that, right? There was a panel here, and I had this in here. Oh, and we got to talk about my girl here. Here we go.
Oh, again to Angel?
Angel Reese, part 33. Let's get it. Only lost by 25 this time.
25.
That stuffer coming hot with the stats. She went 0 of 8, 5 turnovers. And she got 1 hit stick.
This poor girl is so
12
bad.
Rebounds. 8 of them were the me bounds, if you know what I'm saying. All right, let's get it going. How about it? Bang! Again, there's
Yeah,
another
who
me
does she
bound.
think she
Do it
is?
again.
Josh Hart?
Bang! Another me bound.
You
Do
see,
it
I made that
again.
little stab right
Another
there.
me bound. One more time. Bang! Wait, you're allowed to pass the ball? Someone tell her when you travel, you need your real ID now. Bang! Free throws ain't free. Bang! Again. Bang! All right, brother. Who at the zoo is responsible for letting the giraffes out of their habitat? How many steps was that? Bang! Bang! Does a fly and Angel Reese have in common? They both get swatted. Bang! Ice cream company reached out. They said, I want to sponsor you. I said, you don't have my flavor. They said, what's your flavor? I said, butter pecan. Bang! He's shooting 23% from less than 5 feet from the basket. 4 of 17 from right there. What? Throws our
4 of
fundamentals.
17. Again, she's ready for the Knicks. She's ready for the Knicks. She was 4 for 17 from less than 5 feet.
Yeah.
That's just Josh Hart territory. Look at this, 30 points of Liberty. Her team sucks, and they keep giving her the ball. That's the funny thing. This number 34 he's got out now.
Well, you know she's in the locker room saying, just give me the ball. I got this.
Y'all are the reason I keep missing.
You got to ISO. ISO.
Where is number 34?
Move to the other side of the court. Give me a free lane. I don't think anybody has to guard her.
Wait, which one is this? Because I know he did 34 and 35. So that's 6 days. Oh, this one. Yeah.
Angel Reese, part 35. Let's get it. Another day, another loss. Starting to feel bad, man. They may never win again. About to get the combo meal. You get the travel. You get the
love
me
that.
bound.
This
and
one I just
turnover.
watched today.
All for the price of
This is
one,
horrible.
baby. We got merch
He's got
now.
the merch. Me bounce.
This, I got to tell you, she's got to be, like, this is the worst basketball I've ever seen.
I need that shirt. That shirt is great.
Yeah. Why does he got the passport, though? What's the passport about?
Bang! Traveling.
Oh, he traveling.
Me
Goes to
bounce
the
and
giraffe.
traveling.
The giraffe.
Link in the bio. Why is she top 3 in the league in turnovers? Oh, because it plays like that, huh? Free throws in this economy? Yeah, that's gonna cost you. Did you know 46% of her offensive rebounds come for her own misses so far this season? 46% rebound rate. You're welcome. New stat. Don't let
throws
that
it
last
up.
shot fool you. Even a broke clock is right twice a day.
Come on, move, get out of the way. Just give me the, come on, give it. Move, get out of the way.
Butter pecan! If you've never seen her
awful
dunk
looking
before,
shot.
just wait, because you're not going to see it here either. Fine, I'll admit it. We are watching because of you, too. I mean, come on, man. Try shooting at the rim without looking first. How about it? Bang!
Wow.
What's going on YouTube? I am back. So here to talk about
This guy's funny. He's funny. But he's unpredictable, too, so I don't want to. Yeah. Some of his content is a little racy at times. Oh, God, that's funny. That's fucking funny. I don't know where 34 went.
What's 34?
Number 34. They went from, this was part 33. That's part 35. I don't see.
Oh, you're trying to follow along.
Yeah. Oh, here it is. Here
Can't
it
miss
is.
one.
Angel Reese, part 34. Let's get it. Oh, shucks. They lost by double digits again.
I don't think her team's won yet this year.
Really?
And not only are they
She's a better
losing, but they're
passer than
losing
she is
big.
at making layups. I just want
Well,
you
'cause
all
You got to
she's-
remember, they only
This-
played like
this
30
goes in the
games,
basket.
like their
she's
whole
also
season.
probably trying to force her
That's the
legacy
defender right
onto
here.
everyone.
Look how she holds in the rebound. I mean, it's not
She's not a
Angel's
team
fault.
player.
Her teammate didn't jump 30 feet in
Yeah,
the air.
she's
Oh,
Team Angel.
Yeah.
She's a team player. Remember that old Budweiser commercial? Leon, there's no I in team. Yeah, there ain't no we either. Yeah, I love it.
But there is an A in team, and that's Angel.
Angel for Angel.
Everybody else is just
me-bound addiction
fucking supporting cast.
Incidental. They're all
is
incidental.
getting out of control. If you feel like you are struggling with the me-bound addiction, call the helpline at 1-800-ME-BOUND. It's 1-800-ME-BOUND. Who traveled further, sailing with Phoenix or Angel Reese's pivot foot? Travel.
Travel.
Me-bound.
They don't even call it though.
They can't
no,
flutter
she-
in the butter because they'll sputter.
You say butter?
Butter pecan! Burn! The American dream, white picket fence, entrepreneurship, apple pie, and me-bounds for days.
Fans.
WNBA.
WNBA.
Let's see. Let's take a look at the standings. 4 games in there, so the season's like half over now. Yeah, I don't understand why they. Sky, they're 0 and 4. Wow. Let's see, because they're not only are they losing, but they're getting their fucking asses handed to them. So the last 4 games, let's see, they lost their opener 93-58. They lose the next one 99-74. 91-78. They lost to the Sparks, whoever the fuck that is.
LA.
And then they're getting closer 94-89.
Yeah, but who do they play? Mercury?
I don't know who's that.
Exactly.
I don't know any of them though. I know the Liberty are in New York, and the Sky is Chicago,
Isn't Mercury
and the
Phoenix?
Fever is Indianapolis. I don't know. What's the Sparks then?
LA.
So maybe it is Phoenix. I don't know. Yeah, we can find out.
Yeah.
Phoenix Mercury. I just don't know why.
Chicago Sky.
Yeah, this is just pathetic here in Angel. It's 13 points, 15 rebounds, but like 13
That
of them
makes
are off
sense.
of her own misses.
13 points. None of them. How many free throws did she make? Did she make any?
Let's see. We can look at her stats so far.
Oh, Angel. Angel. What are you doing?
Yeah, here's her starting 30% of her 2-point from the 2-point.
On the field?
Yeah,
Field goal?
2-point field goals. Yeah, 30%. Horrible.
And she's a starter?
Yes. She's playing 29 minutes a game on average. Yeah.
She's awful.
Her 3-point attempts 0.8 on the 3 from the 3-pointer. She's missed pretty much everything.
I think I could beat her.
She's averaging.
What do you think? What would
Well, the
you,
only thing that you would have against you is your age. Quite honestly, having to run like to keep up with her that
and
way.
some height. Yeah, the
Yeah.
conditioning and the height would be an issue because she's a tall bitch, right? How tall is she?
She's 6'2" or 6'3", something
Oh,
like
really? Okay, so she's not too much taller than me. I think I could take her.
She's getting 2 steals. Let's see her offensive rebounds.
Let's start a campaign.
It says here that she has more defensive rebounds than offensive rebounds. I find that very hard to believe.
we can make a bet with her. How about this? It's a one-on-one situation.
1-on-1.
She has to play me one-on-one. If I beat her, she has to go out on a date with you and spend the night at like a nice hotel.
I get to have sex with her.
Well, we'll say it's a double bed. It's her choice, but she has to spend the night with you.
She would be highly disappointed.
She has to have like there's no sexual entailing in
No.
this.
I'd be done before we started anyway. I really find her to be very sexy. Like I really do. I think she's
Maybe
very
not the
sexy.
hotel, but a nice.
I'd love to see her see her naked.
A nice dinner. We have to set up a nice date, nice dinner with you.
Yeah, all right.
A night in heaven with
I don't
Angel.
think she'd do it. She's got nothing to win. What would we get her? What if she wins?
If she wins,
We have to join her fan club and become her favorite white fans.
if she wins,
I would be in her fan club, though. I am a fan. Like, I like this girl. I really do. I like her attitude, right? I like that she's so ghetto.
yeah, what would she get out of this though?
Nothing. There's nothing for her to gain here. Nothing.
She'll get our
Our undying devotion.
yeah.
Every week we do this is why Angel is the best player in the WNBA, for what that's worth.
We could.
She's
do that.
6'3", 165 pounds.
I outweigh her.
Yeah, but she is. I mean, she's in great shape, though. I mean, she does run up and down the court.
Think about
for
that. I have to
30
go
minutes a
one-on-one
game.
with her. That means I'm going to be getting more action than you.
Yeah, I
You
don't
would probably
think,
be better off going one-on-one with her.
Yeah, I think
At
she.
least you could get some feels.
You haven't played ball in a long time either. When's the last time you actually played basketball?
like played.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been years.
Years. And how good were you when you did it?
I wasn't bad. I had a pretty decent shot.
What were you
I had
on? The
decent
varsity
handle.
B, the junior varsity B team or some
Not
shit?
junior. It was varsity, but it was varsity
Was it
B.
Varsity B.
Yeah, it was the leftovers from varsity A, basically.
This is the shit that didn't work out.
The
Like Danny
delinquents.
DeVito in Twins, right? Where they
Yeah.
make Arnold Schwarzenegger. Well, what about me? Well, you were the stuff that was left over. Yeah. It's fucking great.
I'm the Danny DeVito for sure.
Yeah.
Varsity D.
Yeah,
DeVito. Varsity DeVito.
I want to see if I can find this thing here. I forgot about it. It was 30 Rock. Country. Oh, God.
See, this is why we have to open up tabs and
Yeah,
have these
yeah,
things ready.
No, I have some. I had other things ready.
But I'm not going to them.
Not this one. Yeah. Oh, this is the common sense test. I told you I could ace this thing.
Oh wait,
30 questions.
this is a trivia.
Trivia. Well, it's a common sense test.
Okay, I don't have much common sense sometimes. Oh, you're not doing that yet.
Oh, I can if you want.
I
I'm
don't know
looking
what
for
you're
something
doing
that
there.
isn't here.
I don't even know 30 Rock like that.
Oh, I love 30 Rock, man. I think it's the best sitcom ever. 30 Rock, without a doubt. Hold on. I'll be right there. I know.
This is also why we need to do our commercials so we could just go into.
Yeah, anyway.
Oh, you choppy. Ba, 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 ba. It's fucking shit.
All right, I'm going to do this. I'll take this test. All right, let's do this. We got another hour to kill, man. We can talk about whatever you want. We'll see what's in the. You saw that the court reversed Trump's tariffs because they were working, I guess. No, you can't do that. The stock market's plunging today as a
I
result.
saw Ralph Lauren was complaining.
About what? The tariffs?
Yeah. They said, oh, well, because of the tariffs, we're going to have to raise prices.
Mm.
So that's how much they give a shit about their
But
customers.
the Chinese have already caved. You know, like, yeah, listen, you're trying to bring manufacturing back to the country. You know what I mean? Like, it's so ridiculous. I remember as a union guy, and I am, 25-year union man. And I remember what NAFTA did to us as union people. You know, all these people went overseas. They brought all that shit. And now, you know, and we cannot compete fairly in these other countries. Anyway, let's do this.
Welcome to the ultimate common sense test.
Da-da-da-da-da.
30 plus questions, each with only 5 seconds to answer.
I'm going to look like
Think
a dick
fast.
if I can't get these right, though, right?
So you're gonna play it?
Yeah. You can play toe if you want.
I mean, it's weird to play together.
True.
2 heads are better than
And
one,
hit
I guess.
subscribe for more challenges.
Let's see if together we could be undefeated.
Questions 1. How many months in a year have 28
12.
days?
Fucking tricky.
Seems like more than 5
Answer
seconds.
C. 12.
So these are just trick questions.
If you pass the second person in a race, what position are you in?
Second.
First. No.
Second.
Answer B. Second.
If you pass the second person in the race, oh.
I love this. This is Walter. Hit the vape, Walter. We'll take a test.
Yeah, I know. Hold on. I should.
There are 3 apples and you take away 2. How many do you have?
2.
Answer B. 2.
It's the vape. I love it.
How many times can you subtract 10 from 100?
Once.
B.
Answer A. 1.
And why? Why? Why can you only do it once?
What?
Because once you subtract it once, it's no longer 100.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I got it. Yeah, these are stupid fucking questions.
They're not stupid. They
They're-
make you fucking think.
they're supposed to
They're
be-
stupid because you can't get any of them right.
Well, I'm not paying attention.
This is Nixon 7. When you get one wrong, all I want you to say is Nixon 7.
Nixon
Okay?
7.
Nixon 7. Okay?
Go ahead.
All right? Can we agree on that?
Go ahead.
A farmer has 17 sheep. All but 9 die. How many are left?
9.
Nixon 7.
Answer A. 9.
I knew this would be
If a
fun.
plane crashes on the border of the United States and Canada, where do they bury the survivors?
Nowhere.
C.
Answer D.
You
Nowhere.
watched this already.
No.
Nixon
I
7.
listen. If a plane crashes on the border of the United States and Canada, where do they bury the survivors, Walter?
Well, how do we know if there are any survivors or not?
Walter, you don't bury survivors. Like, just listen to the fucking question. How do we know there are survivors? They can all be survivors.
Go ahead.
Once you realize it's a trick, that you just got to listen to it.
Yeah, but I'm focusing on like production and whatnot.
You're so full of shit. It's all done.
No.
All right, let's do
there's
another one.
Constant playing.
What? Nixon what?
Nixon 7.
Okay.
A bowl with 6 apples and you take away 4. How many do you have?
All right, pause it. If you have a bowl with 6 apples and you take away 4, how many do you have? Is this a fucking quick trick question? You have 6 apples, you take away 4, there should be 2 there.
Okay, that's your answer. I say 4.
What the fuck is wrong with these questions?
Answer B. 4.
If you have a bowl with 6 apples and you take away 4 of them,
You take away 4. How many apples do you have? 4.
oh, how many do you have? You mother... Go ahead.
No, say it.
Nixon 7. Let's go.
What weighs more, a pound of feathers or a pound of bricks?
All right, this I know.
Which?
C.
Very good.
That one I've been hearing since childhood. I'm not an idiot.
Answer C. They weigh the same.
Dixon, how many?
I got that one right, though.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
How far can a dog run into the woods?
Can I give my answer? Halfway.
How far can a dog run into the woods?
Halfway.
Why?
What's your answer?
I don't have an answer. Nixon 7.
Answer A. Halfway.
Why?
I don't know.
Because after it runs halfway, now it's running out of the woods.
Oh. Huh. Interesting.
Is it legal for a man to marry his widow's sister?
No.
No.
Why?
Answer B.
Why?
I just thought that was street code.
Why is it illegal for a man to marry his widow's sister? Because he's dead.
Yeah. Exactly. That was my point.
No.
This is actually Nixon 7.
Which word is spelled incorrectly in every dictionary?
Incorrectly.
Yeah.
Answer A. Incorrectly.
The fact that they give you a
If there are
choice
12
too.
fish and half of them drown, how many are there?
12.
It's just not all of them are alive.
Answer B. 12.
Fish can't drown.
I thought fish can drown. I thought a shark could drown. Like, it has to keep moving. It can't stand still.
How many 2-cent stamps are in a dozen?
12. Say it,
Answer
Walter.
C. 12. If you divide 30 by 1/2 and add 10,
25. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Whoa, 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 whoa. No, no,
yeah,
no, no.
see, I was going to say 25, so
No,
it
it's
must
70.
be wrong.
It's 70. It's 70.
If you divide 30 by a half.
do you
Oh, I get
answer C.
it. Yes.
Which is
Almost
heavier,
fucked that
a
one
ton
up.
of gold or a ton of silver?
Neither.
Neither. Starting to catch on a little.
It's just if you
Answer
understand
C.
it's all
Neither.
a trick, then it makes it easier.
The clock puts pressure on
What
me.
goes up but never comes down?
Gravity.
Age.
Age. Balloon comes down. Smoke comes down. Heat rises. And goes
Answer
down.
A. Age.
Yeah. This is very
What can you hold
captivating.
in your right hand but not in your left?
My dick.
Your left hand.
Your left elbow. Oh, look who's
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Wait, hold on. What can you hold in your right hand but not in your left? You can't hold your left. You can hold your left in there without holding it. That doesn't make any sense.
What?
Your
what-
left elbow or your left hand. You can hold. You can do that, but you can't hold your left hand in your left hand.
Well, you're already holding your left hand with your left hand.
No, but it's not in your left hand. So either way, that either one of those would do. You can't. That doesn't that it's the same answer.
If you have 5 oranges and you give away 3, how many do you have left?
2. See, they fucked you up with the other 2.
Answer A. 2. What has keys but can't open locks?
Piano.
Yeah. Keyboard.
Answer B, a piano.
I'm getting bored now.
What has a head, a tail, but no body?
Coin.
Across the street.
The word across the street. I'm bored now. It's a coin, but I'm bored.
Answer B.
All right, that's it. I'm done. I don't want to do this anymore.
This isn't fun.
No, it's. Oh, you want to? You know what we could do? Yeah, let's do this, because we always like this, right? Ay, come on. What the fuck? I hate when it does this. Fucking Mac, man. How come I can't?
Welcome to the ultimate common sense test.
It won't let me take a look at my. There we go. Playlist. We can review. Oh, did you want to look at the trailer? Didn't you want to watch that? The trailer for this?
Yes.
No. Oh, it says it had the whole movie there, maybe, huh? Is that right? Can't be.
They might.
60,000 people have viewed this trailer.
And 140 gave it a 3
Oh, look,
or
and
below.
the star of it, who supposedly just sucks, has responded to the critics. We can look at that too, because that ought to be good. Here's the trailer, though, of what this guy considers the worst movie ever.
My name is Gary Buckle, wheeler dealer and troublemaker. I wasn't always that person, you know.
And he said the guy who reviewed it said he swears this whole thing was shot on an iPhone, like one single iPhone.
Really?
Yeah. He said it was that bad. The production was that bad.
Man, I need 35 grand to pay for her care home fees.
35.
35,000. Bollocks. How am I going to get the money?
Get a job, like the rest of us.
And who's going to hire me? I thought maybe I could do a job like the old days.
Do you actually remember what happened on the last job?
Indeed, about 3 million US. Nothing I go and tell my fatherland from jail, you know?
3 million.
I thought it was a serious movie.
You want to go to Jamaica?
I had no
Pose
idea.
This Jamaican gangster, steal all his dough, and then hope to live. Steal all his dough, and then hope to live.
I mean, all I've got to do is learn the Jamaican accent.
You ready for dough?
They could have just gotten Chet Hayes.
Find him.
Tom Hanks' son.
Oh.
He doesn't
Kill
mean
him.
bombastic
Bring him back to life.
Jamaican accent.
And then kill him again.
That was retarded.
You said go undercover.
Yeah, but me never say idiot. Dressed in a winter coat and a winter hat on a beach in Jamaica. Take it off! Take it off!
So that was the trailer for the worst movie ever.
I wouldn't say ever.
Well, we didn't see it, so.
I'm sure there's plenty out there.
Yeah.
Worse.
We should do that.
I'd watch some. What, worst movies?
Oh,
of all
yeah,
time?
yeah. Review the worst movies ever.
Before who they catch
I'd
4
watch 'em.
times, where
A
eventually,
midget file?
yes, eventually,
Midget file.
a midget file. Eventually, the cops. He's just a guy, and every time the cops show up, he's like, "No!" and just like starts running around all crazy. Yeah.
Jason,
Hans,
13 years old! Hans, 13 years old, Jason! All the evidence is here!
And the guy's
his special needs
and the
little person
and the
over
guy-
and over again.
and the guy was so.
I'm sorry, he runs around like the little guys in Halo.
He does. He does.
Oh God!
The 4th time they catch him at a car dealership, they
Big
go,
J is
"Hey,
funny.
Jason," and he doesn't recognize him. Still, he goes, "Oh, hey." And he goes, "What are you here for?" He goes, "To get a car."
Oh, you didn't.
He goes, "Are you here for a 13-year-old?"
Oh, you didn't want to pick up a 13-year-old car?
He goes, "No!" And he starts like running for his life into the thing. He's like, "Get out of here!
I'm calling the cops.
Get out of here!"
I am pressing charges. I am pressing charges.
The guy before
God.
who they catch 4
that's
times.
fucking
Were eventually
funny. Shane Gillis, I think, is one of the funniest guys out there right now. I think that his comedy is really. He was so good when we saw him in Tennessee, man.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. It was definitely worth watching. Anyway, I don't know what else to talk about, man. I really don't.
What else did we have in the?
I thought that I had so much more to do, but we do have.
What do we have on the agenda?
Well, we can always do like a police video. We love those, man.
Well, you had your black fatigue as well.
Black fatigue. There was a thing, and I thought it was funny because they had these panelists, right? It was such a setup. Hold on, where did I put that? That's in Watch Later, I think, right? Playlists. I think I put it in here. Watch Later. Yeah.
Let them know, man. Say.
Here, it was this young lady here. All right, so they had this panel, right, on black fatigue, right? They're going to talk about black fatigue. And this young lady here, this is her thing, Modi Speaks. And I've never seen her before. I did subscribe to her because if I'm going to use somebody's video, I think I should at least give them the courtesy of a subscription. And I also liked the video. But she said there was this panel, right? It says, black panel explodes after white woman admits there's black fatigue. And this was such a setup because they got this one lone white woman on with 4 really angry black people. And it's like, and she's not even like a fat white chick that the guys on the panel would want to fuck, you know? So she's kind of out there on her own. But it comes from this whole thing. Like there's a real movement now. And it's not just like with racist white people who are saying this shit, you know? This is like, but you know, it's funny because I remember, and you remember as well, you're old enough to remember Chris Rock talking about it, you know, it was called something else, but, and what is it? You know, it's, you say, okay, black fatigue, and it's different because there's white fatigue as well. You know, we all get tired of the hillbilly bullshit. Like I told you, I had Hulu, like Walter had to remind me why I got Hulu. It was for a show that he recommended. So I got Hulu for like a month and I forgot what I got it for. So I was watching Justified, right? Because it's a good series, but it's just redneck hillbillies. These are my people, man. Like, and it really is a cultural thing. But I think with a lot of the black people, what's happening is that people are getting tired of like the Letitia Jameses and shit like that. Do as we say, not as we do. We're gonna accuse you of shit, but when you accuse us of the same shit, it's racism. Like it's fucking ridiculous. The shit with Letitia James, you know what she's going through, right? Are you keeping up with that at all?
No.
Really?
Not really.
Do you know who Letitia James is?
I only know through you.
Say Nixon 7, please.
Nixon 7, baby.
Letitia James is the Attorney General for the state of New York. Mm-hmm. She's the one that brought Donald Trump up on fraud charges for real estate dealings. And then it was found just recently that she committed the same exact fraud. She committed fraud on...
Yeah, that I heard.
And this is what people are talking about when they say like they're getting tired. Like it's all bullshit. Like every time you can't say anything out of line, you know, and for whatever reason, right? And that's what this young lady. She's African. She's here in the States now, and she's talking about this. And she's a conservative woman, as many African women who come over here are. They're very conservative. The funny thing is when you look at especially Nigerians. Like the income levels and shit like that, Nigerians do very well here because there's a work ethic that comes along with it, right? Mm-hmm. And they actually outpace most white people here. They don't do quite as well as the Asians or the Jews, but they do better than the average Caucasians financially. Because I tell you, I knew the guy when I was working as a technician, and he ran a ladies' shoe store on Willoughby Street in Brooklyn. And the guy is like, I was here a month. I'm working 2 jobs, you know, like I'm killing it here, right? I love this country. And he talked about being in Nigeria and the fact like if you don't work, you don't eat. You know, there's no, You know, there's no welfare system like we have here. There's no, you know, food stamps and all that other bullshit. You have to produce in order to eat, and that's where, like this woman here, you can hear it. This is where she's coming from. She's very conservative, and so she put out this thing.
Recognize what we were suffering from and what we are still suffering from. Okay, we have currently, you know, diagnosed the problem. I mean, we finally have our hands directly on its neck. Now, one thing I believe is that for us to be able to solve a problem,
in the
we
era
must
of
first
George Floyd. So we got our hands on its neck. Yeah.
That there is a problem and also find out what that problem is, and then from there onwards we can now be able to solve that particular problem. It is kind of like the same thing with questions, be it academic questions like in examinations or whatever.
This is what we were talking about with Diddy too, like taking accountability. Like if there's no problem, then there's no problem. But you go back to a guy like George Floyd. And look, nobody deserves to be killed by the cops, right? But there's questions about that as well. But you know, do you remember why the cops were there in the first place and what this guy was doing and what his history was and everything? You're building statues to this guy who was a real piece of shit. You know, he was a piece of shit. Put a gun to the belly of a pregnant woman, an African-American woman, right? Black woman with a black child inside her. And said, show us where the cash is or I'll fucking kill the kid. Like, come on, man. Not a good guy. And you're building statues for this fucking guy. Anyway.
Do not understand the question you were being asked in, let's say, an academic examination, then there is no way you are getting the answer correctly. You first have to understand the question you were asked for you to answer it correctly. Now, that is why I am happy that people are finally speaking up about this phenomenon called black fatigue. Because now that it is being widely recognized, maybe discussions around this issue can help put an end to this nonsense. Okay. Now, that brings us to this video I stumbled across just, you know, I think a few days ago.
Yeah, I think
There's a conversation around this particular topic.
The
discussion
video
was organized by Fox Local News, and I honestly think that we all should take a look at this video. But before we jump into the video,
because it seems like such a setup.
My channel if not already. Like and share this video to keep people informed, and also consider supporting the channel if you like in any way that you can. All right, so let's get into this video.
Now to black fatigue. It has recently been turned into a feeling that some white and black people have who say they are damn tired of foolishness of some black people. The claims of racism from sunup to sundown, loud talking, fighting, and the list goes.
Like there's plenty of white people who need to be called out too. That doesn't make it racist to call out people who are behaving poorly, right? You go into Appalachia and call out these white people, these pill-pushing people, right? The meth smokers, the oxy users, right? You can call them out because it is what it is. And when you see an entire culture doing this shit, you got to call it out.
I'm glad people are noticing this because it's been so many years and it's finally catching up to y'all. I've been trying to tell y'all that white people are tired of y'all. I'm tired of y'all too, but everybody, the world is getting sick of y'all and y'all's. I'm so glad this day is here. I've been trying to get out there that you people need help. It's me, but me and other black conservatives. We've been trying to warn.
Daytime, you know. I always remember Al Sharpton as a kid marching through Crown Heights, you know, and he wanted money. He wanted money. I remember him going up against Burger King because there were franchises in black neighborhoods that weren't necessarily black owned, and he wanted money. Like, and it's always about money, and, you know. And there's so much money in race hustling, and I really have come to the conclusion that nobody gives a fuck about black people. Like, these black race hustlers don't give a fuck about black people. How can black people be worse off today, or at least as bad off today as they were 30 years ago? Like, certainly we've improved on race relations since then, right? But apparently not. Like, it's the same conditions and the same shit over and over again. And when are people going to start looking at, like, maybe we need to change some of these policies in the inner cities? I saw a thing on, and I think I put it on here, maybe. No, it wasn't this one. It talked about underserved communities, the underserved communities. I said, well, what does that mean, underserved communities? Minority communities are not underserved. And I use, like, If you look at minority communities, right, they get more police presence, more fire presence, more EMS presence, level 1 trauma units, more social services are going into minority communities. Schools, the average, according to the Board of Education here in New York City, the average expenditure on students here in New York City, which is over 85% minority, the public school system here in New York City, the average expenditure is $36,000 a year. Salt Lake City, it's just over $11,000. New York City public school students are far below the national average in test scores, SATs, Regents, all that shit. They're far below. And in Utah and Salt Lake City, they're far above. They exceed it, right? For $11,000 a year, $36,000 here in New York. And what are you getting for your money? Nothing. And you can't call that underserved. Oh, they're underserved. In what way? In what way are these communities underserved? More attention and more focus is given to these communities than any other communities in the country, right? And we've been talking about this shit for decades, and it doesn't seem to be getting any better. And when you look at these things and you say, well, who runs everything? Like, Democrats have been running this shit in the inner cities for forever. In New York City, the only legitimate Republican that has been elected in the last 100 years is Rudy Giuliani. And he lowered the crime rate almost immediately, and the test scores went up. The Democrats have controlled the mayor, the council, the district attorney's office, the police chiefs, all of these people in all of these major cities, whether it's Philadelphia, Oakland, Detroit, St. Louis, Memphis, Nashville, all of these cities that are hurting so bad for minorities have been controlled by Democrats forever. And enough. And all you get are these race hustlers say, we need more. It's all about the money. These BLM people took all this money, bought mansions for themselves and shit, and don't give a fuck how many black people are being hurt. You look at the mayor of Chicago, Mayor John, he don't give a fuck. He don't care. His constituents are telling him, get these illegals out of here. And he's telling them, no, you don't know. They're like, but they're taking our services. So what? These are our future voters. You people are our past. We already know you're voting for us. Get to the back of the bus. We got these people coming in now, right? And I just want to show this panel, right? Let's get right to that.
Are her feelings
I like
valid?
this.
Joining us to talk about
Watch.
it, Dr. Angela Jones, political analyst.
Now
Angela
look at this panel. You got the simpy white guy in the end. He's Democrat, black woman, angry black woman, Democrat, angry black woman, Democrat, angry black man, Democrat. She's the conservative right here, the white lady dressed in pink. And I love this. Now this woman here, she's going to talk. That's Dr. Jones, right? Because I watched the first. Please. It's all racism. When you single out people by their race, it's racism. I don't give a fuck. You have to be oppressed. Who's oppressing black people more than other black people? I would love to know that. When you look at an inner city, who is oppressing black people more than other black people? That's it.
Activist Eugene Howard, filmmaker Sean Welling, and conservative M. Williams. We want to thank you all for joining us.
Conservative.
First of all,
and that dirty bitch in the middle.
What black fatigue is supposed to be, Dr. Jones.
Black fatigue is supposed to be just and I'm trying to make it as short as possible. Basically, society is saying that they're tired of how black people are blaming things that have happened.
First of all, she got a white daddy or a white mommy, right? She ain't all black. She's it's so funny, man.
Historically in the past on what's happening today, and they are also now adding different things that they have seen.
I was gonna
Full
say,
disclosure.
she has kind of like a Pam Grier thing going.
This is
This is
It's my second wife. She looks a little bit like my second wife, actually, to be honest with you.
Ow!
Yeah.
Here as well, as she said, like loud mouthing or maybe using certain words or certain
screaming at the
behaviors
movie
in public.
theater,
So
shit
that's
like that.
basically the definition in a short sense.
So I won't criticize her for that very nonsensical definition. I mean, that's by no means what black fatigue means.
It's not.
But in her defense, okay, the host of the show asked her to define what black fatigue is supposed to mean. I'm emphasizing on the word supposed. Okay, so she's using the definition that was created by that woke author, Mary Frances Winters, who wrote a book in 2020 which she captioned Black Fatigue, where she created a definition of this phrase that fits her own woke narrative. Now, mind you, even before the year 2020, the reasonable members of the society have been experiencing Black fatigue. Okay, they might not have given it a name yet, but they were experiencing it even back then, before 2020. So to be concise, Black fatigue in its truest definition, okay, at least according to me, and I'm hoping according to the reasonable members of the society, is the extreme exhaustion and tiredness that everyone is experiencing as a result of some Black people's shenanigans. Now, those shenanigans can be victimhood mentality. It could be ratchet behavior, always asking to speak to the manager in restaurants, being extremely racist to others, especially in the guise of dismantling white supremacy, and being loud and obnoxious, turning everything into a fight. You name it. People are exhausted with it all, and that exhaustion is defined as Black fatigue.
Do we get anywhere with that, with this conversation?
No, this absolutely
Okay, good night, folks.
I mean, the thing is, it's an absolutely pointless conversation.
Why?
It's like, okay, so now what? Thank you for letting us know that there's a new fancy word of you saying that you're tired of Black people, and
we will
and you put it on the internet, and now people
Right.
are co-signing on it, you know, including with the way they.
See, it's not real. Your feelings are invalid. These are the same people that told you that there's no inflation. It's just your imagination that gas prices have doubled in 2 years, right? It's your imagination that eggs are $12 a dozen, right? It's $1 an egg. It's all your imagination. This doesn't really exist, right? There isn't racism in absolutely everything, because honest to God, you can find racism in absolutely everything. Everything that doesn't go my way is racist. It's all racism. You know, ask Angel Reese. It's Caitlin Clark's fault that she sucks. It's all racist.
Is already, but it's okay. You put a nice new name to it, and now you feel like it's okay to say. And it's not going to do anything for anybody to now pander this term around, to pass it on in the internet and put it in people's mouth and make people feel encouraged to say, I have Black fatigue. But when we're all tired, when I'm saying, oh, we're all tired of something and somewhere, there's always something. So this is not actually going to help anyone psychologically,
Sure it does,
mentally,
though. Sure
emotionally.
it does.
It's only
because
gonna...
it lets people, just like any time you talk about things like this, it lets people know they're not alone. Because you feel horrible to say, well, Jesus, I'm just so tired of seeing this shit. You know, I'm so tired of hearing about all these Black people shooting other Black people. I'm tired of hearing about it. I'm tired of hearing they want reparations to come. They want to tax these white. They want reparations to come. They want to tax these white people. And she knows it'll never get through. But that's not the point. The point is she wants to propose it to make herself look good, right? And white people aren't supposed to go, what the fuck, man? Fuck you. Fuck you. Right? Oh no, you can't. Oh, you're a racist if you think it's bad. Oh, I'm not a racist if I think it's bad. I'm a businessman. You think I should give you an extra tax for being a white business owner? Fuck you. And why should they stay? If I were a white business owner living in Denver and I had the opportunity, I'd fucking move. Fuck you. Fuck you. You're on your own. Pull out. I remember here in New York when this idiot Hochul came out and said, if you're not a progressive liberal, you should just leave New York. And Mayor Adams is like, shut the fuck up. These people these white people are moving. Who the fuck do you think is paying the bulk of the taxes? It's not that Black people don't. But listen, when it come right down to it, look at the projects. Look at who's living poor in this city, right? You want us to leave? You want all conservative white people to leave New York? Because people are under the impression that everybody that lives here is, no. No, they're about a million and a half conservatives. Unfortunately, this is a city of 8 million people. 1.5 million of us are conservative, but that's a lot of money. That's a lot of tax revenue. And you're telling us you don't want us here if we're not progressive liberals? Apologized for a few years ago. I'm so sorry. I called out these people. Why? It was a funny skit. And why? What makes something funny is that there's an air of truth to it, right? And now we can't even mention the skit, yeah. Although I thought that one of the funniest Office episodes was when Michael Scott did the skit. Do you remember that?
Which one?
when Michael Scott did the Chris Rock skit.
Oh, yeah.
That was when they came. That was one of the first. I think that was the first episode, wasn't it? When the guy came from HR and everybody had to sign the thing saying that they
It was one of the earlier ones. Yeah.
I'm here for you, Michael. How come Chris Rock can say it and I can't? For obvious reasons.
More divisiveness, more anger, and more hate in society.
It's funny how she didn't even realize that she just clowned herself with that response. Even the host understood how ridiculous her response was, and he took a jab at her by pretending to, end the conversation, to end the show, when he said, okay, good night, folks. But she doesn't even understand. I mean, if the conversation is absolutely pointless, then why are you here discussing it? Why don't you just decline the invitation?
There you go. That's a great point right there, isn't it?
So just based off of this answer, I know exactly what I'm going to be getting from her in this conversation.
Right.
But let's move
Bullshit.
on.
That's
and when we see a lot of people, especially black people, joining that chorus, saying that I'm tired of black people too.
Right.
What will that
They're
do?
not. It's not black
going to
people.
do anything, because here's the thing: that black person or the black people that are on the internet saying that can go somewhere and they're going to be already stereotyped into the group that they're trying to separate themselves from just because they're black.
That's not true.
You actually have to be around people to see their behavior. You have to witness their behavior to actually understand who they are. But she could sit there and be in a crowd of a room of black people, and guess who all she's going to be included in that group as well.
No, she's not.
Why would she be? She's not doing anything that is going to help her or her race at this time.
I mean, isn't
That's
that
not
the
true.
reason we are calling this behavior out? This woman genuinely doesn't get it, okay?
I
Now,
tell you
there is
about
a
that
saying
girl,
in my
right?
native language,
I was doing a job on Plymouth Street, at the end of Plymouth Street in Brooklyn, and it was right after they started opening up Dumbo, right? It was just becoming like real chic and all that shit. It was right at the turn of the century, I guess you would say now, right? Right around like 2000, 2001. And this woman, she was at the end of Farragut Street. I know I mentioned this before to you. And she had a nice house. Her parents got it for her, right? And she was from like New Mexico or Arizona, something like that. Hispanic lady, but like Caucasian Hispanic, And it's very pretty, very progressive, And we're talking, and she's telling me that she drove through the Farragut, like she would drive through the Farragut housing projects at 2:00 in the morning. Am I disturbing you, Walter?
No, I'm just I'm trying to like work on like video streaming, and I'm listening.
Because I can't just talk to myself, although I can, but
really?
it's a lot more fun.
I find that surprising. You don't need me
Nixon
here.
7.
You had a whole conversation one time and thought that I was here listening to it.
When was
I forgot
that?
what it was.
Today?
No, not today. You brought it up one time where you were just like, did I just have that whole conversation with you thinking that you were
probably
here? Yeah.
I can see that happening without a doubt. But anyway, she lived on the end of Plymouth, and I'll tell them then. She lived on the end of Plymouth Street, which is outside of Dumbo. And it was real nice at that end, right? It was very, very expensive, and that's where she lived. And I'm putting in a phone for her. And she starts telling me about how she rides her bike everywhere. And I said, well, that's cool. Now, the Farragut houses, you got to understand, Farragut houses are in the middle of nowhere, like in Brooklyn terms. It's over by the Brooklyn Navy Yard, the back end of the Brooklyn Navy Yard. And there's only two, like I went into a lot of housing projects in Brooklyn. I worked a lot of houses, right? All of them, really, all of them in that area of Brooklyn, from Red Hook to Louis Armstrong to all of this, Marcy, Farragut, Gowanus, a whole bunch of them, Walt Whitman, Fort Greene, all that shit. I worked all those projects. There were only two that made me very uncomfortable, and that was Farragut and Marcy, and those are the only two places that I really, really watched my back while I was in there, And this girl's telling me how she would ride through Farragut houses. And she, like I said, an attractive young lady, probably in her early 20s. And she'd ride through there on her bike at 2:00 in the morning. And I said, honey, you're asking for trouble. Well, what do you mean? I'm like, this ain't the fucking Cosby Show. Like, I don't know where you think you are.
You'd be fucking, even in the Cosby Show, you better watch your back.
I'm like, This is fucking Brooklyn, man. You not only that, but that's Farragut houses. Like there was a precinct. Like there's always a precinct close by, right? But the precinct was down off of Gold Street at the time. Anyway, it was off of Gold, and Farragut was right at the end of Gold Street. I'm like, that's a really dangerous place. And she says, well, what are you, a racist? I'm like, no, it's got nothing to do with race.
I'm a realist.
Right. And she's like, I think you're a racist, right? And she starts off on this. I'm like, honey. And she's like, stop calling me honey. Okay, darling, listen to me. Like, you know, I said, if you go down there during the day and you ask the black women who live there, they will tell you you're out of your fucking mind to go through there at 2 o'clock in the morning on your bike. You're going to get fucking raped just because you shouldn't be there, just to show you like you're in the wrong place. How many bad people living in a housing project? Like, let's say this housing project has, I don't know, 600 apartments. How many people that live there have to be bad in order to make that a bad place to live? It certainly isn't everybody, but you're not going to see the women in that housing project coming out by themselves going through there at 2 o'clock in the morning. They're going to be coming down with other people. Like, they're not going to do it because they're not fucking stupid, right? And that's part of what the black fatigue, the fact that you can't do that at night. Because there's a few people in there who are that deadly. I told you I had a job. I did a job for a guy there. He was like on the 8th floor, 7th or 8th floor, and I'm putting in. He was a decent guy, and we're talking, and we're getting along really good. And I could tell by the grill. He had the gold grill. You know, he had certain amenities in his apartment that would lead me to believe that perhaps he didn't make an honest living. Let's just say it like that, right? And we're talking. I told him, I says, and this is Farragut. This is how the guy that lived there thought of Farragut, and I did too. Like, Farragut scared me. I'll be honest with you. Again, Farragut and Marcy, the only two places I was always aware of what was going on. Anyway, I said, look, I finished what I had to do in his apartment. I says, I got to go down. The way it works, I had to send the tone downstairs and connect the wire down in the basement. He goes, I'll bring you down there. Let me go get my gat, right? He wanted to go get a gun. And I said, well, I said, that's not necessary. He said, it is. I'm going to go down. I like you. You're funny. He said, I'll bring you down there. And then he told me his name, and he says, if anybody here ever gives you any shit, you tell them you know me, and they'll leave you alone. And he was a menacing individual, and he had that look like I would not want to fuck with this guy, right? But that's what he thought of it, okay? And he went down with me, and we talked the whole time, you know, and it was cool, and you know, it was the only time I ever felt comfortable in the basement of Farragut houses, you know, because it was that dangerous. And that's what they're talking about. Like, you say, it's not about black people. I get along with anybody. I really do. But the fatigue isn't just that. It's the defense of that. It's the making excuses for that. There was a kid, I forget what city it was. He killed somebody, but he was out. He was charged with assault twice, and the same judge let him go twice. Because he's a victim, you know, because she's a progressive judge, and you don't understand the black experience. The black experience, he's hurting black people. Like, that's part of the fatigue. That's part of, like, what the fuck are we doing here, man? You're hurting your own people. It doesn't make any sense to me.
In my country, it says, Otu akarota manono.
I don't understand that.
Now, that simply means if one finger dips in oil, the oil gets to the whole fingers. So when these ninjas are allowed to jeopardize the reputation of the community, even the responsible and reasonable members of the community.
And this is kind of what I'm saying. Like, you affect everybody by having this, you know, by having a few people in Farragut who are just absolute outlaws, right? And coddled by society. Remember during the George Floyd riots, I remember up in Harlem, they were interviewing this woman, and you could tell they didn't want to interview her anymore. It's a black woman who lived up there, and this, how do you feel? She said, this is fucking hard. They're burning down my block. How can you be for this? This is like, look what they're looting our stuff. Like,
next neighbor, please.
Yeah. Well, you're obviously a racist. And here I were thinking you were a black woman. Like,
been lumped in with the bad eggs. It is
There you
as
go.
simple as that. And that is the main
She's
reason
cute,
people
too.
like me are speaking out about it. We are tired beyond repair, 100 times more tired than even other people. We are criticizing this plague because we want it discontinued. We don't want to be seen as victimized and incapable of polished behavior. Woman,
Victims never
please
prosper.
borrow some common sense for yourself.
All right, Angela, let's hear from you. Your thoughts about
Yeah,
this
Angela.
black fatigue.
Well, with all due respect to Angela, number one, I really disagree with this. It is a completely behavior-based issue.
Yeah.
And when
cultural.
white people, black people, Hispanic people are saying we have black fatigue because of the behavior of some black people, we've all seen it. We all know what it is. It's everywhere. And, you know, the issue is way more insidious than people realize. And I talk about how a lot of these standards are seen as racist. So the out-of-control behavior that we've seen in the
The
classroom.
behavior
in
standards
society-
are seen as racist, right? You remember after all that George Floyd shit, when Coca-Cola put out things about not being too white. 100 years. 100 years.
all over is part and parcel of what the Democrat Party
Right.
has done to the black
All
community.
right, Eugene, let's hear from you before we have to take a break.
Man, why are we all? What does the Democrat Party have to do with black fatigue?
Everything.
Hold on. Okay, first of all, I think he asked Eugene. So last
Yeah, but
time I
Eugene,
checked,
you see, and that's the slick shit right there too. I think he asked Eugene, but Eugene, you just asked her a question, and so for her to answer, I asked you a question. It was rhetorical. I didn't want an answer. What does the Democrat Party have to do with it? You don't want to hear the answer to that, Eugene. You don't want to hear the answer to it. Why ask the question then? Make a statement. Democratic Party has nothing to do with it. Boom. Don't go, what does the Democratic Party have to do with it? And then when she starts to answer, say, well, you're not Eugene.
Igbo language. So my instinct told me this
I
is
like
them,
her.
okay? The black fatiguers or the black fatigue generators. Starting from the heavy multiple chains around his neck,
Yeah.
the very darkened lips. The reference to his dark lips is in no way intended to be an insult from me, okay? For all I know, it could be genetics, but also it could be as a result of smoking something very heavy. I don't know. I'm just saying. But let's just...
She just called him a crackhead. Oh God! But anytime I see activist, I say that's it. On anyone, it's no.
him the benefit of doubt and hear what he has to say.
The Democratic Party has nothing to do with black fatigue.
Really?
What the original term from the actual black community of black fatigue was after every other community decided to vote, since you want to talk politics, Donald Trump then, black folks said, we're going to sit this one out. We're going to let this thing burn down and we're going to go have a good time because we're tired. We have been struggling.
what?
Our grandparents, our great-grandparents, our great-great-great-great-great-grandparents have been fighting this same
And again, I know this is off topic, but those white foams coming out of the corners of his mouth are so irritating. I'm sorry, but I had to point it out.
fight. So if you guys want to turn around, and you know, he said the N-word. Why don't you guys feel so comfortable? Just say it. Just go ahead and say the N-word. We're you know, if it's so okay, if you're so fatigued, if you don't want to recognize the civil rights plight, go ahead and say the N-word. No.
What civil rights though? Like, how can black people still be fighting the same fight? When all this resource has been given, when do you take accountability for this fight not being won yet? When do you take accountability for that? When do you say, maybe it's us? Maybe we have something to do with this. Maybe the fact that we're killing each other in droves. Maybe the fact that our children aren't graduating high school. Maybe the fact that so many of our children are being born out of wedlock. Maybe the fact that we're not going into good careers. Maybe that has something to do with this. Because if you're a perpetual victim, that means you have nothing to do, right? If you're a victim, that means there's no fault on your end. I'm not at fault. I'm a victim. There's nothing I can do about this, right? I can't join a race if I have no legs. I can't run a race, right? If it's a sprint, right, with people with legs, and I have no legs, I can't run. So I'm in a way a victim of that, right? I have an open disadvantage. But when do you start saying, well, this is my fault. I have to do something about this.
stopping you. It's a free country,
not on
right?
this show, Eugene.
I mean, I'm just
about to
saying.
lose me my show.
but that's my point. It's a lot of things that they want to use code words, whether it's DEI, whether it's black fatigue. They just want to be able to say the N word without being able to say the N word.
That's ridiculous.
Black fatigue, always the victim, always invoking the great grand forefather struggles, civil rights this and civil rights that. Even when we've had a black president and countless individuals, black individuals like crazy Jasmine Crockett, clowning themselves in Congress. Now this man is the embodiment of
that woman is hysterical because she grew up white. She grew up white, whiter than me. That's a fact. Went to private schools her whole life. Went to like prestigious private schools. She wants to talk all hood. This woman is the worst kind of black fatigue because what she's giving you, Jasmine Crockett is giving you a caricature of what she thinks a black person is. She doesn't speak that way. She's not some ratchet girl from the ghetto, not even close, right? 2 parents in the household, both professional people, went to private schools, expensive private schools. Her great grammar school, I looked it up, her grammar school was like $18,000 a year. That's where she went, right? Then she went to a private high school, an all-girls, a Catholic academy for high school. Then she went to a private college, $55,000 a year, okay? That's Jasmine Crockett, right? And then she starts making some headway. She's in this all-black district that she ran for in Texas, right? She's not from Texas. She's not from there, yeah? It's her impression of what she believes. This is how little she thinks of black people. She thinks this is what black people want. And apparently, she's right. That's part of the fatigue. And she's going to capitalize on it because she's now another race hustler. She's going to make a dime off of this shit, right? It's hysterical. And y'all are falling for it.
You are still confused on the practical representation of black fatigue. Please look no further. Here it is. Automatically, he is playing the victim. He is accusing others as people who just want to use the N-word, who just want to say the N-word, conveniently disregarding the fact that even fellow black people like me are equally tired of the nonsense. Okay, are we trying to use the N-word? Let me turn the tables and accuse everyone of being racist to me so that they will kind of leave me alone. Classic black fatigue. And I agree that degeneracy is not limited to black people. Of course, every country, every society will always have scoundrels, okay? But now it becomes a problem for black people if the perpetrators are 90% of the time black. And that reminds me of a saying that I always see on the internet. It goes, it's not only them, but it is always them. And remember, they are only the 13% of the population. Yet, 90% of the time, it is always them. That speaks volumes.
Do you not find certain behaviors objectionable? Or you think it's cool?
Listen, I live in a real community. I see a whole bunch of unruly white folks, Hispanic folks. So it's not just the black community, but we always want to emphasize on black when it's negative.
All right, we'll take a break there. Don't go anywhere. We'll continue our discussion after the break. Welcome back to The Factor Uncensored. We continue our discussion on black fatigue tonight. The feeling involves the stress that some black people deal with when it comes to constant exposure to racism. But there are people on both sides and inside and outside the black community who say they are tired of hearing about it. Our guests are back here on The Factor. Emenderlin, let's begin with you. As a conservative, your thoughts about black fatigue.
Well, whether you like black fatigue as a name or not, it's the truth. Like, we're tired of the victimhood mentality, the trauma identification, the need for external, agreement. That's ridiculous. That's terrible for the black community right now. That's terrible for the children growing up. I mean, there's so many broken homes, and I think that's the core foundation. Number one, I believe the core foundation is that the parents failed to not only unify the home, but also
it's
failed
part
to
of a Marxist
put
philosophy to get rid of the family, though. Like that was Karl Marx at his best, was to break up the family. It's the same thing that feminism and the civil rights movement were all about breaking up the family. Let's face it, Larry Elder talks about it all the time. Black people were better off before the civil rights movement than they were after. Before the civil rights movement, right? Black people were entrepreneurs. They were, because of real racism and real discrimination against black people in this country, black people did everything themselves. The black people had their own cab companies, their own bus companies, their own restaurants, their own hotels. Black people made great money. And it wasn't until white people really just wanted to cash in on that, right? The original race hustlers were white people, right? They wanted a part of that. So they said, oh, fine, we'll let you come sit at our counters. Like, big deal. What the fuck you want to break bread with me for? I'm nobody special, right? But it's the idea that we should be able, and you're right, like it's wrong to racially discriminate that way. But what happened as a result of all that was all these black businesses went under. They couldn't compete with the white businesses. They were too big. They were too strong, right? So all of these really good black businesses went under. What, are we out?
Oh, no.
You're waving to yourself.
I was like, oh, I see myself.
Walter's hitting the vape again. So, anyway, all right, we'll finish this up.
The children. So if you don't have
and
identity,
that was another thing they did as well, is take God away from black people. Like, black people had a faith, they had a belief, they were entrepreneurs. Like, this whole thing about destroying the family and destroying the faith, it just absolutely decimated the black culture. And what they did, what they replaced it with, was victimhood. You're a victim. You're a victim. You don't need God. You don't need to work hard. You don't need to have your own businesses. You're victims. We're going to give you a little money every month. You're going to come. You're going to give it back to us, right? We're going to put you in housing projects. We'll put some liquor stores around there. We'll let you guys play basketball. We know how you love that. And we're just going to keep you down there. I always say, look, I am the first one to say, yeah, there were people redlined you, right? You couldn't go outside of a certain perimeter. The cops would beat you. The banks wouldn't give you loans to move out of black neighborhoods. Who gave that order? Who did that? Like, the cities that run this, the Democratic mayor, the Democratic police chief, the Democratic district attorney, the Democratic board of education, right? Who made the decision that we're not going to teach economics in black schools? Who made that decision? That was made at a board of education meeting in the inner city. They're the ones that made the curriculum up for urban schools, right? They were teaching it in the white urban schools, but not in the black. Why? Who made that decision? But the Democrats who were in power there. Who did that? What police chief, right? The police chief who said, look, these black people go past this line, you break their head, you find out why they're in that white neighborhood, right? We're not going to allow that. Who gave that order? Who gave the order? Take a civics class. I go online, people, because somebody was saying something about Cleveland. Oh, that's where it was. It was Cleveland. It was a judge in Cleveland, Ohio, that had let that guy go. And somebody said that if you go blue, your streets will run red. And that's it. And the guy, well, Ohio is a red state. The governor doesn't make that fucking decision. The governor didn't appoint that judge. That judge was elected on a local election as a judge, right? In the area of Cleveland, right? That's who elected that judge. So it wasn't done by any Republicans. It was all done by the Democrats. And that's what this woman here is saying, right?
You don't have identity at all. That's number one.
Do you at all see the black community as a lost cause, or just
Not
some
at all.
individuals? What?
I don't believe the black community is a lost cause at all. I just believe that we need to stop as a whole with all of this complaining. We need to move past the past and, become better. As an American, my parents were actually Nigerian. They came here in the 80s.
What did I say about Nigerian, right? And this is it. And this is the result of that, because she didn't grow up with this attitude. You look at, there was a great study done in the 60s, I think it was, 60s or 70s. And they tested black children in America versus black children in Germany. And these black children in Germany were incorporated into the German way of life, right? And they were the children of GIs, of black GIs who didn't want to come back to the States because of racism and discrimination. They stayed in Germany where they were freer to live better lives. The black children in Germany tested equally with the white children, not just in Germany, but also in the United States, whereas the black children in the U.S., their test scores were considerably lower. And a lot of that had to do with what Malcolm X called the soft bigotry of low expectation. And there was low expectation put on these kids. And a lot of it has to do with this whole mentality. And it's been prevalent ever since the civil rights movement. you're a victim. You're a victim. And that whole mentality will definitely, you poor you, oh, poor you. And how can you possibly succeed? You have a woman like Oprah Winfrey telling young black children, you can't make it because you're black. And here's a woman who grew up in absolute abject poverty, right? Came up from nothing. She's worth billions. Telling people you can't succeed because you're black. I did, I did it, when it was even harder to do before there was a black president and all this other shit. But nah, you're fucked. Ridiculous.
They grew up here. They had me and my brothers, and we're all successful, and not one complaint through our entire
Nigerian
childhood.
parents.
Nigerian. I'm not surprised. I mean, she's intelligent, speaks facts. Africans always distinguish themselves, especially Nigerians. I mean, you can always tell. We're not brainwashed by the media or by white saviors who are constantly telling us how oppressed we are and how we are owed reparations and how our phantom traumas from slavery is affecting our success or our progress. And yeah, I called the slavery traumas phantom because they are not real. And we never experienced slavery, never. But now we complain more than the actual victims of slavery. So it is phantom traumas.
Yeah. They said, work for what you need, work for what you're gonna get, and you will get it. God placed talent in all of us, black, white, whatever you may, call yourself, but God placed, all of these great things within us. Why should I now say, oh, well, a white person thinks this of me, or there's racism here and there? I don't think about that. I don't wake up every morning and have racism and all of these negative things on my mind. I move forward and I move past that.
All right.
I gotta watch more of this woman's videos. I like her.
I'll show you. Okay?
I told you about
now,
her.
I'm gonna show you that part again.
Yeah.
I want you to look at the black fatigue generator.
I texted you
of
one
course,
of her videos.
you know who I'm talking about.
It's
Okay,
lying.
now I want you to take a look at his hands. Yeah.
Did
just
you really?
his hands.
Yeah.
White, whatever you may, call yourself.
I don't
but
know
God
how
placed,
stalled out we are,
all of these
but at
great
this
things
point,
He's raising up his hands.
we
He
might
wants
be
to
like
speak so
completely
bad.
stalled
He
out.
couldn't
Oh, yeah?
hold it in, okay? In his mind, he's like, I couldn't disagree more. He's disagreeing with what the Nigerian lady is saying. So yeah, I don't think the black fatigue is a lost cause, but he in particular, I think he is a lost cause.
All right, Sean, let's hear from you. Your thoughts about this conversation
Here we
and
go.
the term that we now hear.
And again, I was so taken by your speech. The term we're talking about is black, what was it again? It's
fatigue.
Okay, so on black fatigue, and come from somebody, and I think I agree with her tremendously, having a school for 3 decades, it was the first hip-hop dance school in the country. It's a cancer to tell a young kid that they're oppressed, that they're less than, and the world's against them. Right from the beginning, you're setting a standard by which they have to overcome something, when really you need to put God in them and tell them how great things are for them.
Amen.
So I was never around black people to complain. All the actors and dancers I was around, they had a sense of purpose. They were dynamic, and they never complained. So to me, it's really what I get is in social media is a lot of white people complaining and creating this problem, saying,
White people
look, watch out. These people are in
that's a good white people who complain for black people. And those are the worst white people of them all. It's the white people who don't think you're good enough to even complain on your own, right? Who have such low expectations for you that even you can't see how bad off you are. That my Aunt Sophie, who believed that back in the 80s, who championed Ebonics for black children in schools because it's their culture. And I'm like, really? And do you let the Russian kids speak in Russian and the Chinese kids speak in Chinese? Or do they have to learn English when they get here?
They just teach them how to replace the L's with the R's.
Yeah, well, yeah, pretty much, yeah. And then just, hand them their laundry and anyway, enough of that.
Hurry up and buy.
But seriously, but why black kids? Is my second wife, she's Spanish, she's Puerto Rican, right? And she grew up in Bushwick, Brooklyn, back when it was like still minority, right? Now it's like, I know I'm right, but I live in the minorities in Bushwick. There are no minorities left in Bushwick. Anyway, it's some, but At any rate, she went to school in Bushwick when it was a really rough place, right? And there was a letter that went home with the kids because it was predominantly at the time, that area, that section of Bushwick was predominantly Puerto Rican and Dominican. And so they sent a letter home with every kid with a Spanish surname saying your child is going to now be taught in Spanish for their own good. And my mother-in-law went to the school and said, why? Like, my mother-in-law, my ex, she speaks Spanish. Obviously, her mother speaks Spanish. Her father speaks Spanish. Her sister speaks Spanish. Everybody speaks Spanish. But they didn't at home. Like, they taught their kids Spanish. But they spoke to them in English. And they did that on purpose. And they did it because they felt that having an accent would work against them later in life. Now, you got to understand, my mother-in-law is one hell of a special woman, man. Like, she's a 4'10" Puerto Rican woman, and she is probably the person that I know that I personally admire more than any other person I know, even more than Walter. But that's
not saying much.
No, she's a dynamite lady, and she had to go to school and threaten them. She said, "I don't want my daughter taught in Spanish. She speaks English. Like, you're doing my daughter a disservice by thinking she's not as good as these other kids." And then, well, what do you mean? What, she's not as good? She said, and she used she said, well, the Chinese kids don't for the fucking Knicks for 45 years. And how have they done? It hasn't been pretty. All right, everybody, be well. I thank you. For anybody who may have tuned in or may not, I'm gonna try and cut this up.
I apologize for all the Frozen shit going on.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to figure that out.
We'll figure
on
it
this
all
side.
out. We'll get there.
But the audio is there, so you know.
One day we'll get
Just
there.
listen.
Yeah, we'll get there one
Just
day.
listen.
Yeah, I'm gonna cut it up into little bits. Yeah. Anyway,
I'm gonna
be well.
take a trip to
We'll
Indiana.
We'll see
and cut
you next
people
week.
into little bits.
We'll
What?
be here from 12:30 to 3. And all right, take care of yourselves now.
What's this right here? That's your penis. All right.